Welcome to the Friday Night Campfire Story. My name is Rob and I will be your host for this evening. If you're new here, I'm a short story writer, and every single Friday we experience one chapter from one of my short stories. However, throughout the week we like to keep things as creepy as possible here on my channel. That's why every single Monday we do a dive into the haunted history of paranormal locations. This week will be no different. In fact, it's probably worse. This video has really pained me mentally to make. There's been a lot of events that I actually am going to talk about. I don't know if you guys are interested in that or not, which is why I'm going to give you the option. If you want to stick around here about it, feel free. If you don't, there will be a timestamp right below now. You can skip to that part of the video. That's when the normal video will start. But I do want to take some time and get into this because it's been a crazy few weeks. To tell you the full story, I got to go back to the beginning of this channel. So at the start of the channel, I made it to share my short stories with you guys. However, I quickly realized that just doing one video a week and having it be my short story, it was going to be hard to get traffic there because it's a niche thing. Like, you had to pretty much be looking up the short story to find it, and it was very unlikely anybody was just going to randomly search like Hexenshire or something like that. So I decided that I wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to keep like the horror, creepy, scary vibes, but I wanted to do other videos. That's why I started the true crime series, The Far From Fiction, that we do every Wednesday. And then I had the idea for a paranormal series where I go into the haunted history of these locations. I really got inspiration from the YouTube group named Sam and Colby. If you guys are into the paranormal YouTube space, you definitely know who they are. I'm a big fan of their work. I know a lot of people have, skepticism about their work and stuff, but I enjoy it more for the locations and for the history behind it, which is why I wanted to start this series, because they recently purchased a school, the Farrar Elementary School in Iowa, and they were kind of not sure why it was haunted because there's not really a lot of reports of death or anything to do with that school. So I got the idea to do some research and try to figure out if I could come up with any theories of why this elementary school was haunted, which I came up with a few. However, then I ran into a roadblock of what am I going to do next? What locations will I do? And then I actually brought it up to my wife, and she brought up the point of, why don't you use that book that you bought? Which I had completely forgotten that I had, which is this book. I got it from Barnes & Noble, and it's got all 50 states. Each state has a page, and it has the 10 most haunted locations from that state. And it gives a little bit of a description. It's really like nothing, but I prefer it that way because then I get to do the research and come up with my own descriptions and history of these locations. And so to pick each state, what I did was I used a random state generator, which I'd been using before I even started making the videos because I'm the cook for me and my wife. And so I used it to help me decide what state I was going to make an entire meal based off of, a meal that would represent that state for the foods that they're known for. And so I decided whatever state it landed on that week would be the state I would use the page from that book to make a video on. And so a little bit of a behind the scenes, these videos usually take me 3 weeks to make. The first week I pick the location and then I do the research on it. Second week is when I do the recording, and then finally the third week is when it gets released. About 3 weeks ago from when you guys are watching this, the state I landed on was Florida. The very first location in the Florida page was the East Martello Museum, which I didn't really know what it was, so I was like, okay, interesting. I read the brief description, and it said this location is haunted by Robert the Doll, which I instantly said next, because I know about Robert the Doll, and I wasn't very interested in making an entire video about him, doing a whole research project on the doll. So I decided to move on. I picked a different location. However, just a few days later, Sam and Colby released a new video, and it was them doing an investigation with Annabelle the doll, which I thought was cool because I never really seen an investigation with her. So I watched the video. However, it didn't just include Annabelle. It also included Peggy the doll, which was in the Zach Bagans Museum. And it also included Robert the doll. This, like I said, was just a few days prior to me landing on Florida, reading about Robert the doll and picking a different one. However, when I was watching this video, I was faced with this anxiety that was building up inside of me, and it really didn't sit well with me. I felt like there was this huge dilemma on, should I make this video or should I not make the video? Should I go with the other location that I had chosen, or should I do this video on Robert the Doll? And the reason I didn't want to do the video on Robert the Doll is because I'm aware of like the kind of evil that surrounds it. The evil that surrounds it and the people that disrespect the doll. However, when I was watching this video, the dilemma that I really felt was like, I felt that if I didn't make the video, I may be in more trouble than if I did. So I decided I have to make this video. And so that's where we're at now. And I don't want to waste any more time. I want to just get into this and kind of get it done. But I do want to preface it real quick by saying, Robert the Doll, I am here to tell your story to the best of my ability, to the research that I could gather online. I do not mean any disrespect, and I'm trying to tell your story, which I kind of feel is what you want me to do. So, without further ado, this is Echoes of the Past. Key West, Florida. A place of sun, sand, and secrets. But beyond the vibrant streets and azure waterlines lies a fortress with a darker tale, the East Martello Museum. Within these historic walls resides an artifact so infamous it has captured the fear and fascination of visitors from all around the world. Today we're going to meet Robert the Doll, the most haunted doll in history. But Robert is just the beginning of this fortress. Built in 1862 during the Civil War, the East Martello Fort was constructed as a protective outpost against Confederate attacks. Though never completed, its sturdy walls and strategic location made it a key part of Key West defense. But the fort's purpose soon shifted from protecting lives to being a silent witness to death. Disease, mostly yellow fever, swept through the area, claiming countless lives. Over time, the fort fell into disrepair, its dark history buried under layers of dust and neglect. In 1950, the Key West Art and Historical Society transformed the fort into East Martello Museum. But as artifacts moved in, spirits seemed to be awakened. At the heart of the museum's ghostly reputation lies Robert the Doll. Handmade by the Steiff Company in Germany around the early 1900s. Robert is no ordinary doll. Standing 40 inches tall and stuffed with wood wool, he wears a sailor suit and clutches a toy lion. He was a birthday gift for a young boy named Robert Eugene Otto, known as Gene, from his grandfather. But the innocent-looking doll would become Gene's closest companion and his darkest tormentor. Gene's relationship with Robert was unsettling. The boy spoke to the doll constantly, and according to legend, the doll would actually respond. Family members claimed to hear giggles and whispers coming from Gene's room. Objects were often found broken or misplaced, and Gene's response was always the same: Robert did it. As Gene grew older, Robert's presence remained. Even after Gene married and moved back into his childhood home, he insisted Robert have his own room. Visitors reported hearing footsteps and seeing Robert's facial expressions change. They would even say that they could see Robert moving in the window from outside the house. After Gene's death in 1974, the doll was donated to the East Martello Museum, but Robert's hauntings did not stop there. Today, Robert resides in a glass case at the museum. But don't let that fool you. Guests who disrespect him by mocking or photographing him without permission often face dire consequences. This reality came to light the last couple of years when YouTuber Colby Brock of the YouTube group Sam and Colby investigated this haunted doll. Shortly after the investigation, Colby was diagnosed with cancer. One of the rumors that had circulated around people who disrespected Robert or took his photograph without asking. Although they can't 100% prove or really agree to the fact that Robert the doll did give him cancer, it is quite a coincidence, and also there have been a lot of other stories from other visitors that have told the same exact thing or have dealt with car crashes or multiple car crashes from some of the workers who have been around Robert or have disrespected him. Because of these events, letters pour into the museum from people apologizing to Robert for their misdeeds. Letters begging for their forgiveness after experienced car accidents, illnesses, or even financial ruins. Staff members have said that they have seen lights flicker, cameras malfunction, and even felt sudden chills when they're near Robert, as if he's watching and waiting. What makes Robert so terrifying? Some believe he was cursed by a servant who practiced voodoo after a falling out with Gene's family. Others think Gene's intense attachment to the doll transferred a part of his spirit to him. Yet another theory suggests that Robert absorbed residual energy from visitors, fueling his supernatural activity. Robert isn't just the only ghost that resides at the museum, though. Civil War soldiers are said to patrol the grounds, their spectral forms visible in the moonlight. The museum collection also includes artifacts linked to Count Karl von Cosel, a man infamous for his Makarabe obsession with preserving the body of his deceased love. Visitors report feeling unease and hearing whispers when they're near the exhibits. There are unexplained noises, sudden chills, and the sensation of being watched. Some believe the entire museum is a spiritual vortex where the living and dead coexist. If you dare to visit, remember this. Treat Robert with respect. Ask permission before taking photos, and above all, do not mock him. Because once you leave the museum, Robert's influence might just follow you home. Is Robert the doll merely an innocent toy with an unfortunate reputation, or is he a vessel for something far more sinister? The next time you visit Key West, stop by the East Martello Museum if you're brave enough. Just remember, Robert is always watching. So that is going to do it for today. I hope that you guys did enjoy. If you did, click that like button, hit that subscribe button. It'll mean a lot to me and really help me out. We make videos 3 times every single week. Every single Monday we do an episode of Echoes of the Past. Usually every Wednesday we do an episode of Far From Fiction. And then of course every Friday, usually, we do an episode of the Friday Night Campfire Stories. However, this week's schedule is a little bit different given that it's Christmas. And the story that we're currently on right now is Donum, which is my Christmas horror story. We are going to change the schedule a little bit just for this week only. So today you're getting the video, obviously. And then tomorrow, Christmas Eve, you will be getting the episode of the Friday Night Campfire Stories. It will be the special edition episode. It will be the finale of Donum, so we're going to be doing that on Christmas Eve. We will also be doing a special start time for tomorrow. It will be 4 Eastern, 3 Central, and 1 Pacific time. So if you're looking for the video, it will be out a little bit earlier, and it will be out tomorrow. Far From Fiction will not be happening on Wednesday because it's Christmas, so that is going to be moved to Friday this week. Like I said, that is going to be... After this week, we go back to the normal schedule. Monday, Echoes of the Past. Wednesday, Far From Fiction. And then Friday, the Friday Night Campfire Stories. But yes, that will do it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And as always, thank you for spending a little bit of your day here with me.